Through analyzing data from the Motley Fool and the US Census Bureau, I discovered that retirement income levels are much more modest than popular assumptions suggest, which means a comfortable retirement is more achievable than you realize. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to break down the real income levels of successful retirees and to show you how achievable financial security actually is in retirement. So let's get right into it. Let's start right in the middle. So the median retiree. So according to the Census Bureau, the median retiree household brings in about $54,710 a year. And that means half of retirees earn more and half earn less. Now, I know what you may be thinking, that can't possibly be enough to live on. And for many people, it wouldn't be. Most of the families and individuals that we work with are used to higher incomes and lifestyles built around decades of hard work and saving. So seeing a number like 54,000 can seem like a bit of a letdown, right? Maybe even a reality check. But here's why that number still matters. It's not meant to be the goal for everyone. It's a baseline that shows what's actually happening out there. And surprisingly, millions of retirees are making it work. So here's how. Most retirees at this level, they've already paid off their mortgage. So they're no longer covering commuting costs or work expenses on top of that. And Medicare covers a large portion of their health care. So that $54,000 stretches much further than it would for someone who's still in the workforce. The average retiree spends around $60,000 a year, which means that many people, they bridge that small gap with modest withdrawals from their savings, often just a few $100s a month. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that you should plan for a $54,000 lifestyle. It simply helps us to reframe what's realistic and, more importantly, what's actually necessary for a stable retirement. Because here's the truth. To feel comfortable, you need clarity more than you need a six-figure income. So hang in there, because as we move up into the top 25%, 10%, and 1%, you'll see how different tiers of retirees are actually living. And more importantly, how close those numbers might actually be to what you want your lifestyle to look like in retirement. So the median income shows how retirement is happening for many people, but the top 25% is where things start to feel comfortable. So this group, retirees earning between $85,000 and $100,000 a year, tends to enjoy what most people picture when they think of a good retirement. So there's room for things like travel, dining out, and spending a little bit more freely without worrying about every dollar. And at this level, retirees aren't necessarily living extravagantly, but they do have flexibility. Maybe it's a trip or two each year, taking the grandkids somewhere special, or maybe simply just saying yes to experiences that they couldn't prioritize during the working years. And here's the interesting part. Most of these households, they didn't get there because of massive inheritances or high-paying careers. They got here through consistency. They saved regularly, they eliminated debt early, and they built a plan that allowed their savings and their income sources, like Social Security, pensions, maybe small annuities, they can all work together more efficiently. It's also the range where the numbers just make sense. Like, this is what I often call the sweet spot, where the lifestyle that you want aligns with what your portfolio can realistically sustain long term. So withdrawals, they remain manageable, expenses stay predictable, and there's still room to enjoy the fruits of all those years of hard work. Now, what's fascinating about this comfortable retirement, $85,000 to $100,000, it's still far below the image of a wealthy retiree that we see in ads or magazines. You don't need a private jet, a second home in the mountains, or millions in the bank to feel free. What you need is the right balance between your income, your expenses, and your security. And that's what makes this tier so attainable, because for every middle to upper income earner who maybe they saved steadily, they avoided lifestyle creep, and maybe they optimized where they live, this range is absolutely within reach. So while $54,000 may feel too low and six figures might sound like a finish line, this level, so the top 25%, this is where financial stability meets that quality of life that, you're comfortable, you're confident, and you're not stressed about money. But what if you want even more flexibility? The kind that lets you travel more often and take on projects you care about or help family without second guessing it. Well, that's where the top 10% comes in. And it's a smaller jump than most people realize. The top 25% shows what a comfortable retirement looks like, but the top 10%, that's where financial flexibility really begins. And at this level, retirees are earning between $150,000 and $200,000 a year. And that kind of income, it opens up doors to options, not excess, but options. So it's a difference between asking, can we afford it? And saying, does this fit with what we actually want to do? So this group typically enjoys more discretionary spending, things like extended travel, maybe maintaining a second home, or helping adult children and grandkids financially without feeling financial pressure. There's room to upgrade your experiences, not just maintain them. What's interesting, though, is that this level of income doesn't usually come from one giant source. It's diversified. So retirees in this range, they often have multiple income streams: Social Security, pension or annuity income, dividends, interest, maybe a bit of a business or a rental income. Each of these pieces, they work together to create stability and freedom. It's also the range where unexpected expenses like a medical bill, a home repair, a market downturn, it doesn't really force major lifestyle adjustments, right? There's enough margin to absorb these surprises without panic. And that's really what financial flexibility means, right? You control your money, not the other way around. Now, let's put this in perspective, because even though this is the top 10%, it's not what most people would call ultra wealthy. $150,000 to $200,000 income, it enables a very comfortable lifestyle, but it's not private jet money. People at this level, they're still mindful about spending. They monitor their withdrawals, they plan around taxes, and they make intentional choices to preserve what they've built. In fact, this is where tax efficiency becomes a major part of the conversation. So when you're in this range, a dollar saved through smart tax planning, it can be just as powerful as a dollar earned through investments. It's less about chasing returns, and it's more about managing the details strategically. And that's what makes this group so interesting. They've achieved real wealth, and they've done it through discipline, not extravagance. So it's the product of consistent saving, smart diversification, and long-term thinking. So while $150,000 to $200,000 represents substantial financial success for people, it's still within reach for many people who plan intentionally and they start early. Now, what if you're aiming even higher? The kind of retirement that supports a truly luxury lifestyle. Well, that's where the top 5% come in. And the difference between these tiers, they might surprise you. Now that you understand these income levels, if you need help with your retirement planning, click the link below, and we've created a comprehensive video, and it shows you exactly how to optimize your retirement plan as a whole. So be sure to check that out. So far we looked at retirees who are comfortable and financially flexible, but the top 5% is where we start to see what a luxury lifestyle really looks like in retirement. So we're talking about retirees who are earning between $250,000 to $350,000 a year. And at this level, the picture changes. So this is the range that supports multiple homes, maybe a main residence and a seasonal getaway, along with some first-class travel, premium experiences, and the ability to enjoy life without much compromise. But what's important to note is that this isn't about reckless spending or extravagant showmanship. What we've noticed is that retirees at this level, they're typically seasoned planners. They've built substantial investment portfolios that generate reliable income, often through a mix of dividends, real estate, and some business equity. And many of them also use that financial strength that they have to give back. So they help out family members, they contribute to causes that they care about, or maybe funding their grandkids' education. This level represents true affluence. But here's the key. It's still attainable. There's a lot of people who do it. Most retirees in this group didn't start with generational wealth. They reached this point through strategic planning, consistent saving, and disciplined investing over time. And while $250,000 to $350,000 definitely supports a luxurious lifestyle, it's still a far cry from the billionaire image that we often imagine when we hear the word wealthy. So you don't need a private jet or a mansion on the coast to live abundantly. You just need structure, you need clarity, and you need control. And that's exactly what these retirees have mastered. Many of them came from business ownership, executive roles, or successful investment strategies, but what they all share is a strong command over how their money works for them. Now, at this level, tax planning becomes absolutely essential. With higher income comes higher exposure. So managing withdrawals, leveraging charitable deductions, and optimizing tax-efficient accounts, it can make a big difference between keeping or losing tens of thousands of dollars each year. So when we talk about the top 5%, we're talking about retirees who built freedom, impact, and choice into their lives. So they've earned the ability to live well, support others, and to design the retirement they want on their terms. And yet, as impressive as this is, it's still not the pinnacle, because above the top 5%, there's still one final level that represents complete financial independence. And the truth is, it's more common than most people think. So the top 5% that we just talked about enables luxury, but that top 1% is an entirely different level. And at this level, retirees are earning $500,000 a year or more, and that type of income changes the conversation entirely. So people in this group, they live entirely by preference, not necessity. They travel where and when they want. They invest in what excites them, and they support the people and the causes that care most about what they care about without hesitation. So money becomes more of a tool for choice, not a source of stress or any kind of limitation. So in our experience, these are some of the nicest people that we've ever met. Many of them, you could say, really are just great human beings who have lived life guided by their values and their vision, not by their cash flow. They're building generational wealth. Their planning doesn't just cover their own lifestyle. It provides long-term financial security for their families, often spanning multiple generations. And because their needs are fully covered, they're able to shift their focus outward. So they're funding charitable foundations, they're supporting local initiatives, or they're creating community impact that extends well beyond their own household. But here's what might surprise you. This level of wealth, it isn't the realm of celebrities or billionaires. You don't need $100 million in the bank to reach it. Yes, many of these people, they have more than, let's say, $12 million in their portfolios, but it's often the result of a successful business sale, decades of investing consistently, and maybe they've got a well-structured portfolio that compounds over time. Even here, strategy still matters. Retirees at this level rely heavily on tax optimization and estate planning, not because they have to, but because they're thoughtful about how their planning preserves freedom and impact for the long term. So while $500,000 and above represents the highest tier of retirement income, more than extravagance, it's about options. It's about living a life where money no longer dictates the rules, and every decision you make reflects the kind of legacy that you want to leave behind. The top 1% is intriguing to talk about, but when you look across all the income tiers, you start to realize something important. Retirement is often far more achievable than people assume. And even if the lifestyle differences in each tier are very real. So when you step back and you look at the full range from the median retiree at about $55,000 a year to those earning $150,000 to $200,000 or more, the differences are meaningful. And there's no denying that an extra $100,000 in income dramatically changes what retirement looks and feels like. But here's the key insight. Every one of those levels still represents a version of financial security. Even retirees earning $85,000 to $100,000, a range that feels achievable to many diligent savers. They're living comfortable, flexible retirements built on steady planning, not extraordinary wealth. The data shows something very clear. You don't need millions in income to live well. What you need is a plan that aligns your resources with the lifestyle that you want. So understanding the real income numbers, it takes the mystery out of it. It replaces the vague anxiety with more measurable targets. And that's what turns uncertainty into confidence. And yes, the difference between comfort and flexibility is substantial, but both are within reach for people who save consistently, control their expenses, and they stay strategic about where they live and how they're withdrawing income from their accounts. And this is why understanding actual retiree income levels is so helpful. It doesn't sugarcoat reality, it defines it. So it helps you to set your savings goals and estimate your retirement timeline and identify, which tier truly fits your goals or that you're close to or headed towards, whether that's comfort, flexibility, or independence. Because once you stop comparing yourself to media stereotypes and you start planning around your numbers, financial security stops feeling distant and it starts feeling possible. Now, after seeing all these income levels, you might be thinking, well, hey, that's helpful, but I'm already so close to retirement. Like, how much can I really change my circumstances? And, that's a really fair thing to question. But the truth is you still have more control than you might think. So even small, well-planned adjustments at this stage can have a real impact on where you land. So it starts with clarity. You define what lifestyle you actually want, and you set your income target around that, not some arbitrary wealth goal. Then you look at what you already have. How can you make it work harder? And that might mean optimizing Social Security, adjusting your withdrawals, or maybe realigning your investments to better target your goals. Even modest changes to your savings, to your spending, or tax strategy can shift you closer to that tier that maybe you want to get towards. And it's not about starting over. It's about finishing strategically. So no matter where you're at on the timeline, balance is the key. You want to stay realistic with how you're going to withdraw your money. So your withdrawal plan, you want to diversify your income sources, and you want to avoid chasing returns. And if you're unsure where to begin, lean on professionals who specialize in retirement income planning, not just portfolio growth. Because at this stage, success isn't about hitting some magic number. It's about creating stability so that you can enjoy freedom. So now that you understand what the top 25%, 10%, and 1% of retirees actually earn, you can start to set some clear retirement targets and build wealth systematically so that you can create that lifestyle that fits you. And if you'd like help creating a practical wealth building strategy that supports your target retirement income, click the link below and watch a detailed video that walks you through how to build your ideal retirement step by step. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.